Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. This time it is some rare, some collectible PlayStation games part 4. Okay, let's get started. Now, with this one right here, I'll talk a little bit more about it. Here we have Resident Evil, the Long Bax version. Now, I mentioned earlier I think I mentioned in this series, there are sometimes some games, some earlier PlayStation games like Resident Evil, which came out within 6 months in the United States after the PlayStation came out. They came out in long boxes, and then they were re-released in just jewel cases to change it. They changed the format of these things. So anyway, this one right here is more desirable than the jewel case variant. I think this one will run you about maybe $50. Now, there are a lot of examples, I don't want to say a lot, there are a few, that I'll put in the video where the jewel case variant is very rare and very expensive. Like I said, I'll put a couple pics at the end of this video of some cases like that to be on the lookout for. Okay, here we have Syphon Filter 3. This is not rare. This is not collectible. But there was a version of this game that was released that's very expensive. I think it'll cost you well over $1,000. This came out around 9/11. Originally, the cover had different artwork, had a more patriotic look to it. And for whatever reason, decided to change the artwork to this less than stellar cover. The other one that came out, and I'll put the picture of it, sells for a hell of a lot more and is considered very rare. So if you see that in the wild, get it. This copy will cost you like 20 bucks. The other one will probably cost you like 1,000. Here we have Strider 2. Is it rare? Maybe, but it's definitely collectible. Again, like in what I mentioned in previous videos, when this came out, gaming magazines, I don't think were too kind with Strider 2. Some of the main complaints were that it wasn't that long. It was, you're not really getting your money's worth. So I think a lot of people skipped out on Strider 2. They weren't really that impressed with it. The cool thing about it is that it came with a copy of the original Strider. Now, here's the funny thing with this. Now, it's one of those, it's single jewel case, but it comes with 2 discs. It comes with Strider, the original one that came out in the arcade back in the 80s, and it comes with Strider 2. Now, here's the funny thing about this, and this is the way it is with all versions of this game. Here we have, it says Strider, right? And on disc 2, it says Strider 2. It's actually reversed. The original Strider arcade game is on the Strider 2 disc, and Strider 2 game, the brand new game, is on the Strider 1 disc. Yeah, it's weird. But it's a desirable game. I think this will run you about maybe $75, maybe a little more. So people are always looking for it. Suikoden. Is this rare? No, but it's collectible, and it doesn't really command that much money. I think it's mainly about $40 if you find it. It's still, fans of PlayStation, fans of role-playing games like this game a lot, and that's what makes it collectible. Now, what's more collectible than Suikoden is Suikoden 2. Suikoden did not sell well in the States. So Konami, the people that published and made the Suikoden series, released a very limited print run of Suikoden 2, anticipating that it might not sell too well, and they were right. I think I was the only one that pre-ordered this game when it came out in late September 1999. And because of that, it's highly sought out, and I've said this in other videos, very rarely will I tell you to purchase a game that's $150 or more. That's what this usually goes for. I would say if you're really interested in role-playing games, you like the look of Suikoden from your own research, and role-playing games that look like that, I would definitely say spend the $150 on it. Yeah, this was It's one of the best. Now, what I was saying with Strider, sometimes these gaming magazines give some of these games poor reviews for whatever reason. It's not necessarily because it sucks. It's because maybe they were influenced by the graphics of the game. This is the 3D era. Why are they making games that are 2D? And we're more subjectively, reviewing these games than objectively reviewing them. And I think that's what happened with Suikoden. But fortunately, I should say, with Suikoden 2, it got a very high score in Game Informer, and that was the main gaming magazine in the late 90s, along with Game Fan and Game Pro. So, but it will run you open copy, of course, about 150. Sealed? I don't know. Sealed games are not really my specialty. They run for significantly more. A sealed copy might run you $600. Who knows? Okay. Another, it's not that common. I don't want to say it's super rare, but I don't think it's very common. Tactics Ogre. This originally came out for the Super Nintendo in Japan only. Okay, it's part of the Ogre Battle series. And it was ported. So this is a port of the Super Nintendo version. And I think a lot of people, it was a good game. I think it was sort of well received, but there weren't that many copies. Atlas sometimes released a very limited amount of copies. Not limited like Suikoden 2, but limited. And I don't think a lot of people were really interested in it. Like I said, it was a port from the Super Nintendo version. It had some upgrades, but it still looked like a 16-bit video game. And came out in 1997 where people were expecting something better. And not many people went for it. So here we have again another double jewel case, one disc game, okay? Doesn't come with anything else. Doesn't come with a map or anything like that. It's just your standard double jewel case. Now, some may say, well, why did these games come in double jewel cases if they weren't multiple discs? Well, what was the point of doing that? What was the point of wasting all that plastic? Well, because the manuals were very thick. These things did not easily slide into the single jewel case holders. We have another rare game by Atlas, Tail Concerto. It's not a role-playing game. It's a platformer action game. Pretty cool. It's obviously very dated. Any 3D game that came out from that era, 1998, 1999, 2000, looks very dated 20 years later. But a lot of the 2D games like Suikoden, they still hold up very well. It's a pretty good game. It's pretty expensive too. I think this game will run you about $175 if you find it. Rare. It is rare. It's not just desirable. Here's another desirable game. We have Tales of Destiny. And we have the even more desirable Tales of Destiny 2. I don't think Tales of Destiny sold that well here in the States. This usually will run you about $80. Okay, again, another double jewel disc case. Only has, one disc. No big deal. But its sequel has 3 discs. So it definitely needs a double jewel disc. This is rarer than that one. This will usually run you about $175 to over $200. Tales of Destiny 2 did not sell well here, and this is not even really the true Tales of Destiny 2. This is actually Tales of Eternia from Japan. They brought it over to the States and changed the title to Tales of Destiny 2, thinking that, well, maybe more people will buy it. Didn't work. I've talked about this one in a previous video. Thousand Arms. Desirable game. I don't think many, again by Atlas. We see a lot of Atlas in this video. Very desirable. Comes with 2 discs, I think. Yeah, 2 discs. 2 disc game. And obviously comes with the manual. But it also comes with 2 other things. Stickers for memory cards. And a lenticular card. So it's got to have both of those things in order to be complete. Fans of the game want those things in order for it to, for their collection. And of course, on the back of the manual, they have an advertisement for Tail Concerto. Here we have a game called Tomba. This is it's pretty rare. I mean, it's not super rare. It's not Tail Concerto rare, or Elemental Gearbolt Gun Case rare, or Syphon Filter 3 Patriotic cover rare, but it's, desirable. It's usually about maybe a $100 game, maybe an $80 game, okay? And another one that's a desirable, probably in the same price range, is Tomba 2. Not much more to say about it. They tried to clean up the graphics a little bit with that, and they did, but still some of the play control, the blockiness, the hit detection is still a little off. They could have used a little bit more work on that. Okay, not necessarily a rare game, but kind of a collectible game. Vandal Hearts 2. It's probably like a $50 game. Vandal Hearts is pretty cool too, but I think that usually runs about $30, so I didn't really want to put it on this list. It's a not real time. It's a turn-based strategy game. Not for the beginner strategy gamer, but definitely if you want to invest the time in it, it's a really good game, a lot of fun. The story's kind of boring. I mean, many times I played this game, I fell asleep, but I enjoyed the play control of it. I enjoyed the leveling up, all that stuff. That's what kept me coming back to it. It's a really enjoyable game. Valkyrie Profile. This is several discs, 2 discs. It's a 2D role-playing game. It's a really good game. Although I enjoy it, I haven't really gotten too far in it because it takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's a highly sought out, it's a rare game, and this will usually run you about maybe anywhere between $150 and $175. So here we have Vanguard Bandits, turn-based strategy game, a very enjoyable game. It's 2 discs. The first disc is the game, and the second disc is the Lunar 2 demo disc. And then I showed you Lunar, or Lunar, whatever way you pronounce it in a previous video. This game will probably run you about maybe $75 to $100. It is Xenogears. It's by Squaresoft. A lot of people say this was a really, really good game. I got halfway through it and I really didn't see what the big deal was. But it's also a game that was very expensive for Squaresoft. They ran out of money, and by the time you get to the other disc, you can tell they ran out of money because it's very incomplete. It seems like it's very incomplete, but nonetheless, it's still a pretty good game. I enjoyed it for a while. I know a lot of people sing praises of it, but I think this will run you complete about $50. It's not really that expensive. It's certainly not that rare. Well, that's it for PlayStation 1 rare and collectible games. Like I said, stay tuned. I'll show you a couple of pics of the rarer jewel case variants of games. The games that came out in long boxes originally, but then they were like Resident Evil, but then they re-released them in jewel cases. I'll show you some rare ones. I don't have in my collection. The times when the jewel case variant is more sought out than the long box. Thank you for watching.